lot of people get excited about the cutesy stuff about entrepreneurship, right? They want to see the logo, they want to see the website, they want the cute social media pictures, and I am here to tell y'all that is not what being an entrepreneur, CEO, business owner is all about. And once I realized that, only then did I start actually making money.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to another episode of Beachside Talks. I'm your host, Toons, with a very special guest today.
Jada Hunter with the Roots Agency.
Jada, you want to tell me about yourself?
Sure. So Jacoby and I were actually at UCA together. I'm a proud graduate of the University of Central Arkansas. I got my bachelor's degree in philosophy and African American studies, and halfway through undergrad really fell in love with marketing, and that's kind of been my journey for the past 2 to 3 years, is learning everything that I can about marketing, and I ended up starting an agency known as the Roots Agency. We're the first and only digital creative agency in Central Arkansas offering top-notch services without the long-term commitment, and I'm honored to be here today.
I'm honored to have you. I'm going to jump straight to it about the Roots Agency.
Okay.
So, I'll try to do my research on people.
Right.
You've actually been working on this since, 2018, 2019?
Yeah, so you want me to give the background story?
Yeah.
So I guess I was a sophomore at UCA, and this was at the height of some issues with police brutality and some social justice things. And I was trying to see where I fit in with the movement. And so I decided to start a blog known as the Roots Blog, and it had a focus on social justice, lifestyle, and love. And, I really wanted to utilize that blog as a way to show my activism. And my activism was writing. And so I wanted to write blogs to evoke open dialogue conversations about topics that really matter to me and matter to my people. And of course, there's so much involved with starting a blog, but the most important one, I would argue, is the marketing behind it. And so I knew I didn't have any money. I was a college student, broke, right? We all were. And so I took the last $50 that I had to use on my Discover credit card, and I bought a theme on Etsy to put into a WordPress website, and taught myself how to do a website on WordPress. And if y'all are familiar with WordPress, it's not fun.
I had a class that made to do it. Then
Yeah.
I tried to start a blog with this.
Yeah. It is not for the weak at all. It's actually a really draining process to learn WordPress, but I was able to somehow manage that. And that's when I became really interested about marketing itself. And so that's how the Roots Agency got started. It was birthed through the Roots blog. After releasing the blog, I had people contact me and say, hey, can you do this for me? Like, did you create this website yourself? And I was like, I mean, I did. If y'all are trying to pay me, then let's make it happen. So I kind of stepped into that, and yeah, that's my story. Yeah.
So from Etsy to WordPress to now, how has the journey been?
How's what?
The journey been?
Oh my gosh. I tell everybody that the journey as a business owner or an entrepreneur is ever evolving. I don't think that I will ever be at a place where I'm like, okay, I know what I'm doing. Like, let's, I don't have anything else to learn. It's always going to be a learning process. There's always going to be a learning curve of some sort. And Jacoby, to be honest with you, it's been very difficult. The journey hasn't always been as rewarding as it is for me right now. And so, if we're speaking to somebody who is an inspiring entrepreneur, somebody who wants to start a business or start a hobby, a YouTube channel, whatever the case may be, like, stick to it. Don't listen to any outside noise, especially from people who try to give you advice and have never gone on the journey themselves. Like that seems to be a thing that was really prominent for me. People were trying to give me advice like, why don't you want to go to law school anymore? Why don't you want to do this? Why don't you want to do that? And I knew in my spirit that something was calling me towards entrepreneurship. Didn't know how it was going to look. Didn't know how I was going to pay my bills.
But you knew it was going to.
But I knew it was going to be something. And so, just like giving advice to other people, stick to it, especially if it's something that's spirit led for you. If you feel like it's something that your higher power is calling you towards, just know that what's for you is already yours effortlessly. So
a lot of times people try to cast their fears on you, so I'm glad you didn't. You wouldn't be here right now in this lovely, spacious office.
Yeah, and about the office, I told Jacoby, I was like, we can do this at my office, but there is literally nothing in here. I have 2 desks, 2 chairs, and I also think that is something that's indicative of my journey. Like, I have done some of my best work in the car. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't need anything fancy to get the work done, and I think that's something that makes people like us unique. Like, you came in here with your setup, you got everything set up in 5 minutes, and we're rolling, right? And we're proud of our work, and it still looks good and of quality, but you don't need a whole lot to make things happen if you're talented in what you do.
I'll tell my friends back home who are looking to start something, just start it. A lot of times we stay trying to prepare ourselves instead of actually doing it. But we'll be in that preparation phase forever if we just, all right, we need this. No, you just need to start.
Yes.
And once you start, then you'll see what you actually need. And a lot of times, hey, I don't actually need that.
Exactly.
It might be a help, but I can get started and make it look clean, pristine, whatever.
Right.
And do it.
Exactly. I agree. And that's something that I tell a lot of people all the time. When I go and do small speaking engagements or try to teach people about branding or stuff, I will talk for 15 minutes and the rest of that session is them actually doing the work. Like, because I am a big believer that you can never really speak on something, you never really know how to do something until you actually get out there and do it. We can sit here and we can research all day long, we can talk in hypotheticals, but nobody can tell me how to run my agency unless they've ran one themselves.
That's why a lot of people hate colleges, especially business colleges. Like, hey, these people never ran a business.
Right.
They're talking theoreticals. And that's what graduating and actually starting your own business, that, hey, never prepares you for the things you know, like COVID. I know that impacted you.
Right.
Never studied how we would handle a pandemic. Never studied how we would adjust to the world changing so rapidly. Like, they said, it's going to change that. Never imagined 2019 to now the world would be the way it is.
At all. And so that real world experience is not something that anybody can necessarily teach you. So if you are at a place in your life where, you're trying to get it all perfect, right? You're focusing on your logo, you're focusing on your website, you're doing everything but just releasing it into the world, go ahead and release it. And know that you can fine tune as you go along. But you got to start somewhere. You
can't fix what's not made.
Right, exactly. Put something out there first before you try to say that it's broken. So,
I have a segment in my show that you're actually going to be the first participant of it.
Oh, wow.
So we're not going to do it right now, but
Okay.
in it, I was trying to look up your blog that you were talking about, the Roots blog. What happened to it?
So, the Roots blog does not exist anymore.
Trust I tried to find it.
I think that I went through a phase in my early 20s. I mean, I'm still in my early 20s, but like 19, 20, 21, where I was a little bit unsure about where I stood on certain things. And I felt like the content that I wanted to place on the Roots blog, I wasn't ready for yet. And so again, going back to that real world experience, I didn't feel like I had enough yet. And then of course, in the process of that, like I started an agency. And so the Roots blog is actually something that's been heavy on my mind lately, because I do still have some things to say. I have a little bit more experience now behind my belt, and so it may be something that's coming soon. But
you saying, mate, the way the little twinkle in your eye, yeah, it's coming. And revamped. I don't know how you're gonna do it, but
yeah.
Right.
We'll see.
Congratulations, you won the conductor contest.
Thank you, I appreciate that.
It's actually how I see you on social media promoting.
Okay.
But they sent the email and had you highlighted like as one of the winners. I'm like, oh, I know her. So can you tell us how that pitch competition went?
Yes, and much to my surprise, I ended up winning. I think it was because they had 2 different awards, and so I won one of them. But I will tell you guys, like, the background to all of that. I was extremely nervous to do that pitch. I knew that what my business offered was unique, but I had never been in a situation where I had to verbally tell a whole group of people like why I'm different. And then I always place a lot of pressure on myself. And so I had invited a bunch of people, I had people watching online, and I just wanted to make my people proud, right? And that's something that I feel like, especially in the Black community, Jacoby, like, that's something that we deal with a lot, is this insane pressure to be perfect, to do it right, to do more than what our parents did. And so I was feeling all of that night, to the point where, you know, Ty, and then my boyfriend and my sister were all there calming me down, like saying, what is wrong with you? Like, you've been practicing on this pitch for 2 weeks, just get out there and say it. And so that's what I did. But yeah, what you didn't see on social media was the fact that I had a lot of anxiety leading up to the pitch.
But it came out as a great pitch, one. But I feel like that goes back to what we were saying. Sometimes you just got to do it.
Right.
Because a lot of times we're going to psych ourselves out of it. Even if we're prepared, just as you were. Everybody around, you got it.
Like, what's going on? Yeah.
I think that's more on our human nature. We're more afraid of how great we actually can be than the actual feeling for it. Because you knew it. You had it. Like, oh, this can. You didn't really care about it if it failed. You were just like, I gotta present it. So what if it's something?
Right. And I'm glad that you brought that up, because it's something I've been thinking a lot about to myself. I've been doing a lot of like talking to myself lately, which sounds crazy, but if you haven't tried it out, it's actually
all the geniuses do it.
Really? Well, it's actually been really beneficial to me. And going back to your point earlier, like, I've always thought that I had a fear of failure, but I've realized through my entrepreneurship journey that I also have a fear of what I can be, and the success that I feel like if I gave things my all, I know that I can get there. But I think that can also be scary because it's unknown territory. I didn't grow up in a town where I saw a whole lot of people have financial freedom, have time freedom of any sort. So the fact that that's something that I could maybe experience in the next 5-10 years, that's scary. Like, I don't know what that's gonna look like for me. And so when you realize that you have a fear of failure and a fear of success, it's like, okay, therapy. Immediately.
Put you in the purgatory, like, which way do I go? Or do I just stay right here? And that goes back to complacency. That's why a lot of times we do stuff, hey, we can do more. But it's a risk, we'll fail, but it's risky to succeed. So I'm just gonna chill right here because I'm comfortable with it.
Exactly. And that stagnant behavior is something that you absolutely cannot have as an entrepreneur. Like, and it's something that I had to really work on, especially in the last year and a half or so. I wasn't going after certain things because I didn't feel like I was qualified enough for it. But once I got in those rooms and I got those contracts and I started having those conversations with people, I was like, I've been qualified for this. Like, I wish that I would have did it then, but I'm grateful for what I'm doing right now, right? But it's like, you don't even know what you don't know until you start something. So yeah, stagnant behavior is something that I try to coach myself out of all the time.
Especially because you're young, you're like.
Yeah.
But do you struggle with putting too much pressure on yourself as you grow?
Man, absolutely. Like I said this earlier, the pressure that I put on myself is immense. Like, the people that know me best, like my friends, my mentors, all of that type of stuff, they tell me all the time to just chill out. Like, you're okay. But my beginning journey of entrepreneurship, like I said, was very difficult. Like, I quite literally didn't know where the money was going to come from each month. Like, that's not a good feeling at all. And then you place COVID on top of all of that. Just a lot of uncertainty. And so I always try to set up, and I still do this now, set up every month where I can minimize the amount of uncertainty that I have from a financial standpoint. Map out my workload for the month and how that's going to translate to my bottom line. Like, let's say that I have a new contract for like website development or something, and so I know that they're going to pay me, you know, my 50% deposit, but I might not get the other half until the next month. So like, how am I working that into my budget? What am I spending? Who do I have to pay? Like, all of that type of stuff I have to think about on the front end, so that I can have like some relief in terms of where I'm at financially.
You're proactively avoiding it, so hey, I don't have to do it, but it's better I do it, so I know, boom, 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 this can happen, I can account for this.
Right.
So it's kind of like your what's the terminology? I watched this guy on YouTube called Wall Street Chapter.
Okay.
He said, what's your freedom price? Basically, you count your expenses, how much you need to make, and add what you feel like your free time in it, and that's what you need to make per month to
Freedom
live
price.
to live
I like that. Yeah, and it's called Wall Street.
His name is Wall Street Trapper.
Wall Street Trapper.
He deals with stocks and stuff.
Okay.
I watch him on YouTube, like, that made a lot of sense to me. So I do it like, all right, my bills for this month is this much. So I have to make that.
Right.
Plus, all right, anything else I can make. So he say do like 50% of what you need.
Yeah.
So I need to make baseline plus 50%. That's how much I need to make this month to live comfortably. Anything less than it, I'm struggling.
Exactly.
Now it's gonna add into next month. I'm gonna be trying to rush for next month.
Exactly. And I didn't place enough emphasis on that when I first started all of this. And so I would oftentimes find myself like making a little bit of money, didn't know where any of it went. I was like, where is all of my money going every month? Like, my bank account should not be looking like this. And so even now I find myself like, for example, went to Target last night. I spent like over $200 at Target. What I got, I don't know. But Jacoby, will still to this day keep my receipts from any place for at least 2 weeks, because when I first started this stuff, like, if something had to go back, it had to go back. You know what I'm saying? And even though I'm not there anymore, it's still like that fear, because entrepreneurship, being a business owner, is so like up in the air. And so I'm saying that because I really want to encourage people. Like, I've been at this for full-time like a year and a half, and I'm still nervous about finances, about how I'm presenting myself, about where my next client is coming from, like all of those fears are not going anywhere anytime soon, but I'm still moving forward. And that's the part that, will set you apart from everybody else who wants to be a CEO, wants to be an entrepreneur, wants to be a business owner. Like, you can say that stuff all day long on social media. You can take all the pictures, you can do all the videos you want, but it's about what you're doing when nobody else is watching. That's what's important.
And consistently working on your craft, because I know a lot of times you're probably sitting out to eat, drinking with your friend, like, all right, this will make my business pop.
Man,
I'm looking. Oh, I see that. Oh, I ain't gonna write it down, but I'm gonna remember. Maybe type it in your phone. Yes. That's the stage I'm on now.
Yeah.
Just start like. It don't stop. Like, we heard people say that who were entrepreneur CEOs. We heard them say it, but we didn't quite know what it meant.
Didn't understand it yet.
Now just fully trying to. It don't stop.
Yeah.
If you're really truly trying to be in it for your calling instead of the money,
right?
That's what's gonna separate it. It don't stop. I'm out accountable and craft. Like, I'm thinking, is there a way I can put this on my? What can I add to this to put it on there to make people come? I see it.
Your wheels are spinning, and that is the aspect of this entire journey, Jacoby, that's the most fun. And it sounds crazy to say, but like, when I had a mindset shift to the point where I would be out, like you said, Cannibal and Craft with my friends, like trying to do normal 20-year-old stuff, I'm thinking about my business. I'm like, that's a cute logo, but they could have changed this around. You know what I'm saying? Like, I could have done that better. Constantly thinking about how I can make more money, or, change my processes and procedures around to be better for my clients. All of that stuff is constant, but it's fun because it's what you're passionate about. And I had to really shift my mindset because I would feel like a sense of guilt almost about being out with my friends or whatever and still thinking about my business. But I was like, no, I need to be grateful about the fact that my mind works in such a way where I can think about something that I'm passionate about anywhere.
And then you have a great support system where they understand, like, I'm gonna let you do this. You still gotta kick it, but hey, help me.
Take this shot, but okay. Yeah, that's exactly how it is.
And you talked about website development, creating a website.
Yeah.
One question I got when I was shifting around was, hey, am I having a creative media specialist? Was a question. How is the process of creating a website?
So, you mean like for a client or for yourself?
Both.
So, creating a website for a client is something that I've actually been able to condense into an 8-hour day. And so when I first started this, creating a website for somebody was something that could take months. And it was just honestly because of a lack of planning on my end and on my client's end. And so once I outlined everything that I need from my client to start their website, like the biggest thing that people don't realize when you're working with a website designer or developer is that you have to submit copy to them. A lot of people get excited about the cutesy stuff about entrepreneurship, right? They want to see the logo, they want to see the website, they want the cute social media pictures, and I am here to tell y'all that is not what being an entrepreneur, CEO, business owner is all about. And once I realized that, only then did I start actually making money. And I had to completely shift my mindset. Be okay with doing the work behind the scenes that nobody else knows. There are hundreds of things that I would love to talk about, that I'm a part of, that I'm excited about, that I do, but I'm more concerned about the work. I'm more concerned about my client being happy with what it is that they're paying me for. I don't care about my 1,500 Instagram followers right now. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
They're there. I'm happy. I would love to start promoting myself more on social media, but I'm concerned about my bottom line and my return on investment.
You wanna have the good product instead of the bullshit product.
Exactly.
Okay, you can promote this, but the quality of the work is bad. That just amplifies how bad the quality is.
Exactly.
With your 1,500, you got down, hey, I see the work she's doing and it's amazing.
Mm-hmm.
That's eventually more people gonna see that and just focus on the work.
Right. And so let me wrap up your question. This is so exciting. But so yeah, it's difficult to create a website. So my advice to anybody, whether you're creating a website yourself, which you absolutely can do, or you hire somebody to do it for you, do the framework first. Like, make sure that you know your prices, what services you want to offer, your mission statement. Gather all that stuff up so that you can really enjoy the process of getting a really nice website built. And then secondly, please, like, know that your brand is essentially your reputation. I tell people that all the time. That's all a brand is. It's a reputation, whether it's your personal reputation or your business's reputation. And what you do when nobody else is watching, how you interact with people via email, text message, phone call, your work product, that is your brand, and that's what you need to be focusing on before you focus on being social media famous.
You know,
I'm sorry to say that. Can I say that?
You can say whatever you want.
That's the truth, though. More people need to hear that.
Kevin Gates, one of the great Kevin Gates quotes. You know, he be saying somebody like
I know he does.
He was on Instagram Live and he said, "Too much shining, not enough grinding."
Right.
And it resonated to this day. Like, I listened to it just like last time. Like you said, you want to look like the work is being done.
Right.
Put that work in.
Right.
Eventually, it's going. If you actually put the work in, it's gonna show.
Right.
You don't have to show it. If you have to do all that trying to show it,
yeah,
that means you ain't putting the work in. You just bull stuff.
Exactly. And I have to say this, like, because I want to be clear. I am a marketer. I do see the value. There's an extreme value in digital marketing. So social media management. You definitely have to put yourself out there. And so the best entrepreneurs, the best business owners find that happy medium, that balance where you're doing the work and you're promoting yourself on social media. And in full transparency, that's not a balance that I have found yet. And so right now in my journey, I'm focused on the back end work, but I would like to see in the next 6 months where I can do both. And so if you are a person that like heavily promotes on social media, there's nothing wrong with that, because that doesn't necessarily mean that you aren't doing the back end work. But for a lot of people, that's exactly what that means. So just depends. Yeah.
No, everything's subjective.
Right.
We're just speaking in general.
Yes.
Right now.
Yes. Just wanted to be clear before I make people mad.
You're doing good. Great promotion.
Yeah.
Another question I got is,
yeah.
Do you write communication plans for your agency and your clients? And if so, how's that process like?
Yes, I do. And so one of the things that I try to heavily promote here at the Roots Agency is the strategy behind our execution. And so we know that marketing, especially digital marketing, is something that is really saturated right now in the world. I mean, you know, you can meet 5 new people at a restaurant and 2 of them will be in marketing. And the other 2 will be doing social media marketing or something related to that. And
side interruption.
Yeah, go ahead.
And if you're in college and you want to be a marketer, you don't have to make it your major.
Right.
Just take a couple courses.
Yeah.
And you will learn everything.
Yeah.
I went to school for marketing and realized, hey, should have went for something else.
Yeah.
It doesn't really help as much as you think it does. So
Yeah.
just keep that in mind. Continue.
That's good advice. And so I always try to put strategy behind anything that I do here at the Roots Agency. And so to answer your question about communications plans, absolutely. Like, we can, to give you an example, this brand right here, Arkansas Black Philanthropy Collaborative, of course, you know, February is Black History Month, and so they could have hired anybody, honestly, to curate the graphics that I created and schedule them out on social media. But it's the strategy or the communications plan that I worked on beforehand that makes me different. And so I'm not just designing a graphic and posting it and throwing my hands up and saying, hope it works. Like, I actually can do some A/B testing beforehand and know what's gonna work and what isn't, and give them, you know, an opportunity to know on the front end, like how many followers I think we're gonna gain from this campaign, or what's gonna be your return on investment based on the fact that you spent $500 in ads. All of that type of stuff you have to think about, and I think a lot of people don't even realize how much goes into marketing, because again, it's so oversaturated, and when something is oversaturated, people start making it look easy, and it's definitely not easy. And one of the things that I try to teach my students, I have a small group of students at Premier High School in Little Rock, located on the Arkansas Baptist campus. Yeah, and they, of course, didn't really know anything about marketing, right? These are high school students, like, they aren't thinking about that type of stuff.
They don't know the technical side of marketing.
Yeah, exactly. But they understand social media, all that type of stuff. It's how they grew up. They don't know anything but that. We're talking about 15, 16-year-old kids. And so they are always mind blown at how much goes into a post. Last week, for Valentine's Day, I had one of my students curate a fictional Valentine's campaign, where we went through the entire process that I would go through for a client to get something posted on social media to promote for like a Valentine's Day sale. And he was like, Miss Jada, you have to go through all of this before you post? I'm like, yes, every single bit of it. And it was exciting for him to know that you can plan something and then kind of see it come to life. And so communications plans, writing things down in general, like, is important no matter what industry you're a part of. I always think it's a smart idea to have a plan. Yeah.
Right. And you have clients like SART, Tafel Oil, City of Little Rock, Mayor Youth Council. How do you go about getting these clients?
That's a good question. So, I'm speaking specifically about Arkansas. Connections are everything. I mean, like, if you don't have connections, then you are making it harder on yourself to get certain things. I'm not saying that it's not attainable, but it will make it very difficult. And so I have been blessed to have some people in my life plug me in to where I needed to be. But if there was somebody that I really wanted to know, I wanted them to know me, go to networking events. Go to where that person may be, or where you know they hang out at, where they get their coffee, where their office is, where they go for dinner. Be there and get in front of their face and add value without expecting anything in return. And that's the thing that a lot of people our age, Jacoby, and younger don't understand, is like, we want this instant gratification. Like, we want people to help us out just for the sake of helping us out. And it's unfortunate that's not really human nature. We're all very much so selfish, very much so egotistical. And so I realized at a very young stage in my entrepreneur journey that I was gonna have to show my value before somebody else was gonna, like, ride for me. You know what I'm saying? And so if there is a particular service that you offer, offer it to that person for free. Offer it to that potential connection for free. Give them some of your best work, and then allow them to become almost like your ambassador, right? But you gotta add value. This is for life in general, like relationships, friendships, whatever. You have to add value before people arrive for you and be your ambassadors. Yeah.
That's the add value. Just like giving a TED talk. Of course, you don't get paid for the TED talk.
Right.
But the opportunity, once you do that solid for whoever hosts me, hey, you do this for me. I can keep putting you in front of people who I ain't gonna pay you, but hey, you might get paid this amount, that amount. Or you might even meet somebody who's gonna introduce you to the person you need to be where you wanna be.
Exactly. And so it's known as the barter system. Like, what can I give you? What can I offer you? And then in turn, what can you give me? And that's how my journey looked at the beginning. A lot of different times. Like, okay, I'll give you a free graphic. Can you give me a shout out on your social media? And so that's something that can't always be the case. If you want to actually scale your business, there does have to be a point where you realize, like, okay, I gotta start making some money.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But when you're first starting out, like, know that you aren't gonna have all the answers, and that's okay. You're not gonna have all the money. You gotta be okay with that too. You have to essentially build up your portfolio, whether you're in marketing or a restaurant or whatever, before you can start reaping the benefits of entrepreneurship.
Like, going back to what you said, it's the instant gratification that gets a lot of people confused. I know my friend was trying to set up something for elementary school, and I reached out to some people I know, haven't been speaking for long, maybe like a month. Yeah, I'm trying to get paid this much for it. I'm like, you know what? I'm like, I can find somebody else for it. Like, this giving you exposure to a whole new crowd. And I understand you want to get paid, but you just started. You don't know the ins and outs. And you don't want to sell yourself short, but at least have some proven ground behind you. One or two events, not even major. I don't feel like that count. That may be hate. That's hate.
No, I mean, it's unfortunate that you have to say that, but that really is the reality, especially like in marketing, speaking engagement, that sort of thing. All of that is overly saturated. And so, like you said, your friend couldn't do it, or you guys couldn't pay him what he was asking or whatever. So you had multiple other people that you could reach out to. That is the case with most situations. People do not have to hire you. They do not have to work with you. And so that's why you really have to know what it's called UVP, your unique value proposition. And your unique value proposition is essentially what you bring to the table that's different from everybody else. And so there are a lot of people that Jacoby could reach out to create a website for his business, but maybe I am the only person that can do it in an 8-hour day. And so that's my unique value proposition. That's what I bring to the table. And so that's how your mindset has to be when you're trying to find connections, find people that'll ride for you. Explain to them what your unique value proposition is and how you can be helpful to them first before you ask them to do anything for you.
All right, the next question I got is very particularly you. You don't have to answer if you want, because you have to deal with it regardless if you want to or not. How are you adapting to AI?
Ooh, artificial intelligence.
Because I got bored.
Yep.
And I went back to school.
Yep.
For a computer program.
Okay.
Hoping none of my professors are watching this. And I was having trouble creating this program. Like, it wouldn't come out like it would. I kept getting errors. So I was like, you know what? Let's see ChatGPT. They gave me the program anyway. Exactly. I was like, this scary.
Yeah.
We have people in school for coding.
Yeah.
Computers are now just coding for you.
Right.
So I know with Google, I think Google actually owns ChatGPT, Microsoft in their, I'm not even gonna butcher the names, but their AI system, creating things like songs, websites, marketing campaigns. How are you as a human adapting to it?
That was an excellent question, and not one that I was prepared to answer. So a little bit of background context. This AI ChatGPT is something that's very new for me. I came across it about 3 weeks ago on TikTok, And I was like, what is this? And spent 2 hours, literally from 1 in the morning to 3 in the morning, just playing around with it, and got really excited, not only for myself, but for my clients. And so this is why mindset is so important, because you can look at it a couple of different ways. I could have looked at it from the standpoint of, this can take my job in a lot of different aspects, or I could look at it from the mindset of, how can I utilize this service to produce things in a better quality and at a faster rate for my clients. And so I've actually been so excited about it that I implemented it into our marketing campaign, the Valentine's campaign for my students. I said, have you guys ever heard of ChatGPT? And they're like, no, Miss Jada, what is that? And so we pulled it up, and I had my student ask it, can you give me 5 different fun and witty Valentine's Day captions? And so it came up with the captions within 10 seconds, right? And he was like, okay, so now what do I do? And I said, here's where the human comes into the equation, right? Because a computer can optimize captions for the best engagement, but it can't necessarily sound like us. And so the caption sounded like it was computer generated. And so I was like, you take this really nice framework that ChatGPT gave you and add a couple of filler words, right? So that doesn't sound like a robot wrote it, and you move on. But even if you don't use the caption exactly like it gave you, you still just saved
20, 30 minutes.
At least.
Things brainstorming. Right?
At least, yeah. And that's for somebody who's experienced. If you're first starting out, it can take people an hour to write 2 captions, right? Because you're overthinking everything. And so I am excited about ChatGPT from the standpoint of being able to produce higher quality content and optimize engagement for my clients. And it is something that I have invested some money into because I don't see it going anywhere. I welcome it. I look forward to learning from it. And yeah, it's amazing where technology is going. It's absolutely scary. But I'm here for it. I'm here for all of it.
Like you said, with the captions, it's not optimized, it's not perfect. But I feel like that's where humans will be able to adapt and use it, because you don't have the same soul. It's just like they're making synthesizers been around for generations.
Yeah.
But it cannot take the sound of, all right, I drunk, I broke up with my girlfriend.
Right.
The pain that I'm gonna play out,
right,
is not gonna, no matter what you do to it, it's not gonna feel it.
Right.
And we are gonna be able to make it feel it. So I was just curious.
Yeah, that's an excellent question.
Your field is gonna be impacted the most.
Yes.
Rather than music.
Yes.
All creatives gotta know about it.
Yes.
And I interviewed Miss Lauren Kier on some back, and we were talking about it then, and it's nowhere near what it is. Like it's rapidly.
And I mean, they even, I don't know if you know this, but they have a turbo version of ChatGPT that they rolled out a couple weeks ago, where it's even quicker. I mean, I thought that the regular version of ChatGPT was quick. I mean, Jacoby, it will give me 150 captions in like 30 seconds. Insane. And you're right, marketing is something that's going to be heavily affected by it, because a lot of marketing has to do with copywriting. And so when you have a system that can replace copywriters, it's like, I'm sure they're the ones that are freaking out the most. Yeah.
I was just looking at it like, I feel like this would be great too.
Yeah.
Even then, it still has a downfall. It's only up to a certain point. And
right.
Me trying to learn more about stocks and stuff, it's no, because the unpredictability of it is no way. It's certain fields, all right, it's useful to learn about the field. Right. But actually, like we going back, putting it in practice. Yeah. It's not there yet.
Yeah, and a lot of good marketing has to do with real-time events and occurrences. And so ChatGPT, I think, only goes up to 2021. Yeah. And so there may be some things that I need to connect with my clients and their initiatives and campaigns that happened last year that ChatGPT doesn't know anything about. And so I'm sure in the next few years they'll figure out a way to code it in to where it can be real time. But for now, I still think you need that human engagement.
We're gonna leave your business for a little bit. You as a person.
Yeah.
You're from Murfreesboro, correct?
I am from Delight, Arkansas.
How come it's Murfreesboro? Because I remember you from school.
Yeah.
I remember seeing you.
Yeah.
So.
Murfreesboro is about 15 minutes from Delight. Murfreesboro is where I went to high school. And so I'm from Delight, Arkansas. When I think it was when I graduated 6th grade, going into 7th grade, Delight consolidated with Murfreesboro. And so Delight has a population of maybe 350 people. Like, I haven't looked it up in a long time. Extremely small town. And Murfreesboro is not that big either. So went to Murfreesboro from 7th to 10th grade. And then I wanted to do the most and decided to go to the Math and Science School in Hot Springs my 11th and 12th grade year. And I always tell anybody who will listen, where I grew up has a lot to do with how I run my business. From the standpoint of, I don't need a whole lot to do any of this. Like, take this office away from me. As long as you give me my laptop, I will curate one of the best campaigns you've ever seen in your life. Because you don't have to have a whole lot to make a big impact. And that is what I hope my legacy will be in the future, is that it doesn't matter where you come from, what you had. Like, definitely didn't grow up with a silver spoon in my mouth. But I'm still here, and I hope to continue to be great and do great things, and do good things for the world and for the people in it. And so it doesn't matter where you're from. You can be from a small town, you can be from a big town, grew up with money, grew up without. It's really about what you want your legacy and your future to look like and be.
And like you said, I had it written down, you went to the Arkansas School for Mathematics, Science, and Art.
Yeah.
You went from STEM to marketing.
So a lot of people don't know this, but at the Math and Science School, you can pick your field. And so at the very beginning, you go through an intake process, and they ask you, do you want to go the humanities route, or do you want to focus on STEM? And I was like, humanities all the way. Like, I knew from a very early age, I'm not a doctor, I'm not a nurse, I'm not any of that.
Science kicked my butt. When I was young, like, I need a science seat. Then I got it, like, yeah, I don't need a science seat.
I just didn't like it. It didn't resonate with me and who I am. I've always been like let me write, let me read these books, literature type of person. So I actually took the humanities route at ASMSA. And so I still had to take all those math classes, all the science classes, but I was able to essentially focus my electives on more humanities focused things. So, like taking Comp 1, Comp 2, getting those like prerequisites out of the way in high school is kind of what that process looked like. But I think that it also prepared me to respect the careers of everybody. I mean, the type of stuff that those people had to open up their minds to be able to effectively articulate what it is that they were learning was amazing to me. And so I have a lot of respect for anybody in the STEM field, but it was not for me. Yeah.
All right. Going from Murfreesboro to the Arkansas Mathematics School to UCA, you have friends, you have some lifelong friends like Ariana Lee, Takira. How do you balance those friendships? Because I know me as a person in general, all my friends don't mix, but I try to bring them all together sometimes. So how do you do that?
That's a good question. Your village is extremely important, and I'm sure that you can attest to this, Jacoby. Like, once you get to a certain age, it's up to you who you expect, to be a part of your village. And it's really important that you choose people who are aligned with who you are as a person and what your values are. And I have been extremely blessed to be able to be connected with some really amazing people who have extended me a whole lot of grace throughout this entire entrepreneurship journey, because there have been a lot of times where I have called my mentor crying, like, I'm not being a good friend right now, I'm not being a good girlfriend right now, I'm not being a good daughter right now, because so much of my energy was going towards my business that there were other aspects in my life that were important to me that I felt like I was neglecting. And so I'm just gonna crack it up to the people in my life being really good people, really good, genuine people who want to see me do well, who understand that when I succeed, so do they. And so my friends and the people around me extend me a whole lot of grace, and I would hope that they would say I do the same for them. Yeah.
You get teary-eyed?
A little bit. No, but you're asking me some really great questions, because it's stuff that I've dealt with privately, and so I'm happy that I'm able to share this type of stuff on here, because it's important. Like, that was a really good question to ask.
Appreciate you.
Yeah.
I'm trying to ask good questions.
Of course.
And you get emotional. You have a big heart. So much as you help start Once Upon a Prom.
Yeah.
Can you tell us about that?
Sure. So Once Upon a Prom was actually started originally by one of my best friends, Micaiah White, who is currently a nurse, but we went to the math and science school together. We were roommates. We had a friend who couldn't go to our junior prom because they couldn't afford a prom dress, and it's something that really kind of tugged at the heart of Kaya. And so while we were literally still in high school, with an insane schedule and a whole lot of things to do, she started an initiative to give high school girls free prom dresses. And then when we got to college, I kind of connected with her, saw her journey, and wanted to help, and we kind of revamped it together and did that for a couple of years. And when COVID hit, of course, prom stopped happening, and so it kind of, messed with what we were doing a little bit, and neither one of us have time for it anymore. But it was certainly something in that season of our lives that brought us a lot of gratitude for where we are in our life, and then also just a good feeling to help out other people. It's some of the best memories that I have, to be honest with you. And we didn't have a whole lot then either. Like, that logo was designed on Canva.
Shout out to Canva.
Shout out to Canva. Those flyers were designed on Canva. Kaya and I had meetings to work through the logistics as best as we could, but basically, we got to a point where we just had to say, okay, we're gonna do it. And if the people come, they come, and they did, and it turned out to be really beneficial, I think.
Well, it looked beautiful. I ain't have that problem. Yeah, my thing, I went to a hair store and got a suit.
Yeah. And that's
I think it's
all.
because I'm a guy too. Like,
you're a guy, so it's really not about you, and that's unfortunate. But I'm sure you look really nice. But
I was horrible in high school. I wish people would have told me I couldn't dress again.
But you're right. Like, hindsight, looking back at it, it's really not about any of that. But of course, when you're in high school, when you're in that season of your life, it's like, I gotta find the perfect dress. You want to look nice, you want to have that memory. And so I'm really glad that we were able to help as many girls as we did with kind of making their prom experience what it should be for everybody.
All right. In this phase, I want you to answer the first thing to come to your mind when I ask you these questions.
Okay.
What's your favorite holiday?
Christmas.
What's your favorite liquor?
Don Julio.
What's your least favorite dating activity?
Don't have me doing anything like outside that's gonna cause me to be out of breath, like hiking. You know what I'm saying?
On a hiking day, it's so beautiful at the top.
It is
Especially during
gorgeous.
sunset.
Gorgeous. I'm just not an outside person, so like, and then also I always get bit up by mosquitoes and stuff. Like I'm the person out of the group that would get bit up the most. It always happens to me, and so like, don't put me in that situation where I'm fighting for my life because you wanted to go outside.
Okay. 2 more. Rihanna's Super Bowl performance.
10 out of 10. Duh. But I mean, I didn't even have to watch it to know that.
All right. You once tweeted, people can only meet you as deeply as they met themselves.
Ooh.
The question.
You went through my Twitter?
Yeah, I told you.
Okay. You did some research.
Yeah, because I also got some for my new segments right after this. But you said that, right?
Uh-huh.
What made you come to that?
People can only meet you as deeply as they've met themselves. Gone through a lot of different unfortunate situations with people I thought I wanted to like be with. And so I'm sure at that stage of my life, that's kind of where that tweet came from, is that you essentially can't build anything with anybody. This is in terms of a relationship, a friendship, a business partner, until they know exactly who it is that they are and their purpose in life. Because once you are purpose driven and aligned with that goal for your life, only then can you keep it pushing. Like, because none of us are gonna ever escape like hardships of life, I don't think. But when you're purpose driven, you're like, okay, like this didn't work out as planned, but I still know what my purpose is, so I'm gonna keep it pushing. And so when you're trying to build something with somebody, trying to get close with somebody, until they know what their purpose is, they don't know who they are. Yeah. So I still stand on that. Right. See, that's why it's important not to put crazy stuff out on social media, on Twitter, because what if I had said something crazy that would have been embarrassing?
All right, and that brings us to our new segment. You know, after this, I only have one more question, but this segment is called "That's Hate." This is where I searched through something you said that could be interpreted as hate.
Ooh.
And either you're gonna defend it or you're gonna admit that's hate. Oh my
God. Okay.
And this is a throwback. 2016. You said this.
Ooh, okay.
And it was hate. I don't know. I'm telling you right now, it was hate.
Okay.
And you tweeted, just because you're a senior doesn't mean you're high school royalty. So act accordingly. That's hate. So defend it or admit it.
That was hate. Yeah. 2016, I have no idea what that was about. But I hadn't even graduated high school yet. So I'm sure I was like upset with somebody I went to school with. Because, you know, like, I don't know if you remember, like, the high school kind of dynamics, but seniors can be extremely irritating, especially towards the end of the spring semester. And so I'm sure it was something about that. So, yeah, that was definitely hate. Fight me.
Sometimes it's good to get your hate off sometimes.
It is.
Just don't be detrimentally hate. Get your hate off. It's fine.
Right. Y'all need to delete any tweets that you may have if Jacoby reaches out to you for an interview.
And to her defense, it's hard to find something that could be interpreted as hate. She has been very professional for a long time.
Try to be.
I was going through, I went through your Facebook, but I ain't your friend, so I didn't want to add you, and you know, creep. So I'm like, dang, she's very positive. No hate. Everybody else at least had some hate 2018. No,
right.
Even 2018, you're
good. Good.
All right. And the last question. Take a second to think about it.
Okay.
Who is Jada Hunter?
Wow. I don't think anybody's asked me that before. I think that Jada Hunter is someone who is passionate, someone who displays grit and tenacity, and someone who knows exactly what she wants, and someone who's not afraid to go after it. And if any of that isn't true, then I hope that it will become true in the future. But that's who I hope I am and who I hope to be.
I feel like this.
Thank you.
Alright.
Is that a wrap?
I'm about to wrap it up.
Oh, okay.
Alright. I would like to thank you for coming.
Absolutely.
Let me be here to talk to you, learn more about creators, your creativity, your business, you.
Absolutely.
Is there anything you want to say to the people before we go?
Yes. There's so much that I want to say, so many different things that I wish I had known when I first started. But I think that the most important thing that you can ever do for yourself is trust yourself and trust your instincts, especially if you're a woman. I feel like a lot of us have something in our spirit that tells us when we need to move, tells us when we don't need to move, tells us when something doesn't feel right. And so when I started trusting my gut, my instinct, then I started to reap the benefits of my hard work. And so trust yourself, trust the process, and move accordingly.
Again, I'd like to thank you.
Thank you, I appreciate it.
Be sure to check out the Roots Agency for all your branding, advertisement, marketing needs.
Absolutely.
And that's a wrap.
TheRootsAgency.co.